Botany of Desire, A Plant's Eye View of the World by Michael Pollan illustrates how plants have evolved to satisfy humankind's most basic yearnings.
Most people think that humans have controlled the evolution of plants to our advantage, but really, the plants are controlling us.
Pollan focuses on 4 plants: potatoes for control, apples for sweetness, tulips for beauty, and marijuana for intoxication.
The common story of Johnny Appleseed highlights the relationship between humans and the plant Malus domestica, the domesticated apple. Born in 1772 as John Chapman, Appleseed walked the country planting orchards of apples. Cider made the tart apples popular. But spurred by appetite, curiosity, and a market economy, farmers began to cultivate their most sweetly fruited trees, resulting in the apple we know today.
At its core, each apple contains 7 or 8 seeds, each of which contains the genetic ingredient for a tree radically different from its parents and its siblings. This genetic ability has allowed the apple to evolve and survive for many years, taking multiple forms and flavors. Now, farmers are selecting the sweetest, most delicious apples, placing apples as the 4th most consumed fruit in the world.
The apple's astounding global success has ironically created new problems for the plant. As we go about selecting the tastiest apple and sending it around the world, we are also shrinking the species' genetic diversity by grafting the same plant over and over, restricting its natural ability to keep adapting its defenses against the pests that prey on it.
Oh, hey there. Michael Pollan in the Botany of Desire talks about the 100 different species of tulips. He starts by talking about the tulips in Holland in the 1600s, then goes 100 years later into Turkey and talks about their presence there.
Pollan uses tulips as a way of illustrating the complex relationship between humans and plants in a way that describes the way that plants use humans in order to flourish by making the humans appeal to them by their beauty.
Michael Pollan says, the tulip has been reinvented every century or so to reflect our shifting ideas of beauty. So basically, Pollan is talking about how the tulips take advantage of humans and trick them into planting them because of their beauty.
I found this quote to be interesting as it illustrates a new perspective of how plants are actually using us and using their beauty in order to flourish or to reproduce.
During the 1960s and the Nixon era, marijuana, being one of the main and highly sought-after drugs, was hurt when President Nixon launched the anti-drug campaign, where he named it public enemy #1. And so once it was declared illegal, it rose in popularity and was highly sought after because it was so intoxicating.
Once Nixon started the war on drugs, marijuana was forced to be grown indoors, which at first it struggled, so the supply got lower and the demand got higher and it was more sought after. And eventually money was put into it and it found a way to adapt and thrive in the new environment of being inside. And that's where it took off, because after that it was able to be grown and sold in big amounts.
This is a potato. They originated in the Andes in the Inca culture and soon spread all over the world.
Although the Incas grew many different types of potatoes, other cultures became dependent on one type. Since they only have one type of potato, if this potato gets a disease or fungus, their whole food supply is wiped out, like the Irish potato famine.
Although in many other chapters of this book, Pollan discusses how plants have evolved to benefit humans and to control them, in this chapter, Pollan also talks about how humans have controlled the potato by genetically modifying it to make it sturdier. Overall, our group agreed that this book was interesting and presented us with ideas we hadn't thought about, but also that it was repetitive and slow-paced and had a few tangents.